the heart of the deal. The morning sun filtered through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Marcus Rivera's corner office, casting long shadows across the mahogany desk where he sat reviewing contracts. At 34, he had built Rivera Industries, from nothing into a billion-dollar empire. But today, success felt more like a burden than a blessing. His assistant, Patricia, knocked softly before entering. "Mr. Rivera, the Blackwood Group is expecting your answer by Friday. About the family values clause in the merger agreement." Marcus rubbed his temples. The Blackwood Group, old money from Boston, insisted that all their business partners demonstrate traditional family stability. In their eyes, a single CEO represented risk and instability. They wanted to see a wife, a settled life, before they'd commit to the $100 million deal that would expand Rivera Industries internationally. "Find me a solution, Patricia. This merger can't fall through." 3 blocks away, Emma Chen hurried through the morning rush at Café Luna, her grandmother's small coffee shop in the Arts District. Steam rose from espresso machines while the scent of fresh pastries filled the air. Emma moved with practiced grace between tables, her warm smile making even the grumpiest customers feel welcome. "Emma, dear," called Mrs. Rodriguez from her usual corner table. "You're an angel. This place wouldn't be the same without you." Emma's heart swelled and ached simultaneously. She loved this little cafe, loved the community they'd built here, but the eviction notice tucked in her apron pocket told a different story. The building had been sold to developers. Café Luna had 30 days. That afternoon, Patricia Chen, Emma's older sister and Marcus Rivera's efficient assistant, sat across from Emma in the cafe's back booth. "I have a proposition," Patricia said carefully. "It's unconventional, but it could solve both your problems." Emma stirred her tea slowly. "I'm listening." "My boss needs a fiancée, temporarily, for business reasons. The arrangement would last 3 months, maybe 4. The compensation would be enough to buy this building and secure Café Luna's future." Emma's spoon stopped moving. "You want me to pretend to be engaged to your boss? Marcus Rivera is a good man, Emma. Demanding, yes, but fair. And this merger he's working on could create thousands of jobs. Sometimes we have to think bigger than ourselves." The next evening, Marcus stood in his penthouse apartment, adjusting his tie for the 3rd time. He'd agreed to meet Emma at Café Luna, wanting to see her in her natural environment before proposing this unusual arrangement. When he walked through the cafe's doors, the warm atmosphere embraced him immediately. Soft jazz played in the background while customers chatted over steaming cups. Behind the counter, a young woman with kind eyes and an infectious laugh was teaching a child how to make latte art. "That's foam magic," Emma told the little girl, guiding her small hands. "See how the heart appears? It's like the coffee is sharing a little love." Marcus found himself smiling for the first time in weeks. When Emma finally noticed him, her professional demeanor couldn't quite hide her nervousness. "Mr. Rivera? I'm Emma Chen." They sat in the same booth where she'd talked with Patricia. Marcus explained the situation with careful precision, but Emma barely heard the business details. She was struck by the sadness in his eyes, the way his shoulders carried invisible weight. "Why haven't you found someone genuine?" she asked gently. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. "I've been so focused on building the company that I forgot to build a life. Now, ironically, I need the appearance of that life to protect what I've created." "And after the merger? We part ways. You save your cafe, I save my company. Everyone wins." But as the weeks passed, the lines between performance and reality began to blur. Emma accompanied Marcus to charity galas and business dinners, her natural warmth charming even the most skeptical associates. She listened to his concerns about the merger with genuine interest, asking thoughtful questions that helped him see solutions he'd missed. "You're not just playing a role," Patricia observed one evening as she watched Marcus laugh at something Emma had said during a video call. "You actually care about each other." Marcus found himself stopping by Café Luna between meetings, claiming he needed coffee but really craving the peace he found there. Emma would save him a corner table, and they'd talk about everything except their arrangement. She told him about her grandmother's recipes and her dreams of expanding the cafe's community programs. He shared stories about growing up poor in Phoenix and his fear that success had made him lose touch with what really mattered. "You haven't lost touch," Emma said one afternoon, watching him help an elderly customer with her heavy shopping bags. "You've just been too busy looking ahead to notice what's right beside you." The night before the crucial Blackwood Group dinner, Emma stood in front of her bedroom mirror, smoothing the elegant dress Marcus had insisted on buying her. Her reflection looked like someone she didn't quite recognize, polished, sophisticated, the perfect CEO's fiancée. But when Marcus picked her up, his eyes held something deeper than appreciation for her appearance. "Emma," he said quietly, "tomorrow night, at the dinner, I need you to know that whatever I say, whatever performance we give, my gratitude for what you're doing is completely real." The Blackwood Group dinner took place in a private dining room at the city's most exclusive restaurant. Alexander Blackwood, III, a man in his 70s with sharp eyes and old-fashioned opinions, studied Emma throughout the evening. "So, Miss Chen," he said during dessert, "what drew you to Marcus?" Emma's prepared answer died in her throat. Instead, she found herself speaking from the heart. "He listens," she said simply. "In a world where everyone talks, Marcus actually listens. And he cares about people, not just as employees or customers, but as human beings with dreams and struggles," she continued, her voice growing stronger. "When I see him at my cafe, helping customers or just sitting quietly in the corner thinking through problems, I see someone who built something amazing not despite caring about people, but because of it." Marcus stared at her, something shifting in his expression. "That's quite a testament," Blackwood said finally. "In 40 years of business, I've rarely seen such authentic admiration." Later, as they stood on the restaurant's terrace overlooking the city lights, Marcus turned to Emma. "You didn't use any of the talking points we practiced." "I know." Emma's voice was barely above a whisper. "I couldn't lie about how I see you. Not anymore." "Emma, I know our arrangement ends after the merger. I know this isn't real for you. But somewhere along the way, it became real for me." Marcus moved closer, his hand finding hers. "What if it became real for both of us?" The merger was approved the following week. The Blackwood Group's statement praised Rivera Industries' leadership and their confidence in Marcus Rivera's personal stability and character. But by then, the business deal had become secondary to something far more valuable. 3 months later, Café Luna bustled with its usual morning energy, but now it occupied the entire ground floor of the building Emma had purchased. The expansion included a small stage where local musicians performed and a corner dedicated to business mentoring, sessions that Marcus ran twice a week. "Mrs. Rodriguez," Emma called out, carrying a fresh cappuccino to the familiar corner table. "How's the latte art looking today?" "Perfect, as always," the elderly woman smiled. "But I think someone else wants your attention more than I do." Emma turned to find Marcus at their usual table, but today he looked nervous. In his hands was a small velvet box. "I know we started this all wrong," he said, standing as she approached, "with contracts and arrangements and fake engagements. But Emma, I'd like to try again. For real this time." Emma's eyes filled with tears as she looked around the cafe, at the customers who had become family, at Patricia beaming from behind the counter, at the life she'd built and almost lost. "Yes," she whispered, and then louder, "Yes." The cafe erupted in applause from customers who had watched their story unfold over months of shared mornings and quiet conversations. As Marcus slipped the ring onto her finger, Emma realized that sometimes the most authentic love grows from the most unlikely beginnings. And sometimes when you're brave enough to let someone see your heart, they don't just steal it. They help you discover it was bigger than you ever imagined.